1980s. So, angels were talking to Ryan, this Ryan Michael Poe. Angels were talking to Ryan Michael Poe and telling him, the 1980s, is when we first really saw it started happening in America. Our own government, there's people doing things illegal with U-Haul trucks. And, the ones doing it a lot, like 80 or 93% of the time was American government. Illegal activity with the U-Haul truck, you know, the rent truck that you get. U-Haul, the rental truck, the moving truck, right? Well, Angels told Ryan the other day, this really started happening in the 1980s, Ryan. You had men, your police officers, is really the ones that came up with the idea to begin with. Were doing illegal things with U-Haul trucks. And Ryan was talking to the Angels, and they said, well, what they would do, Ryan, is walk into the U-Haul truck with giant, like, duffel bags, huge bags. Okay, bags that have handles, and you could fit maybe 200 or 300 pounds worth of stuff in it, but it's just giant bags you could carry by the hand. They're bags like duffel bags, but they're canvas duffel bags. And they'd walk into U-Haul trucks with these giant bags, and there's a bunch of, they said, they bring bags in, they'd have a lot of plastic, when you build a home, you can buy rolls of thick plastic from Lowe's or Home Depot. When you're buying a home, you go to Home Depot for a lot of stuff, wood, hardware, and refrigerators and stuff. But you can also go to Home Depot and buy giant rolls of thick plastic. That's usually for building homes. And what your government thought of doing illegally, not the government wasn't, they were doing it illegally, your own government men thought of this. Take all those giant plastic rolls, those thick rolls of plastic, coat the whole entire side of coat the whole part of the U-Haul they needed coated with that plastic. Basically, the theory is here, you could take in a body of a person. You could murder somebody in a home, right? So, they'd murder somebody in a home, and then what they do is bring them out to the U-Haul truck, and people have actually, what they did was they coated the whole entire side of the U-Haul truck with that thick plastic linings you can buy at Home Depot and Lowe's, and they'd bring in big bags. So you could bring in your plastic rolls of bags in your duffel bags. You bring in people, like, say for instance, 3 people walk in the U-Haul, 1 or 2 people walk out. And they all brought in big bags. Well, what they started doing in the 1980s, the Angels said in the 1980s, and the government thought of it, was they would cover the whole inside of the U-Haul truck with the thick plastic liners you can buy from Home Depot and Lowe's, that thick plastic rolls, the thick plastic roll sheets, so DNA evidence doesn't get into the wood of the truck. And they do whatever they want to the back of the body in there. They cut it apart. They've even dehydrated people's. Angels told me there's a guy that rented a U-Haul truck once in the United States of America and used all that plastic lining. Brought a person in, he never walked out of the U-Haul truck, and they cut his skin from his body, dehydrated his skin in the back of the U-Haul truck, cut the parts of his body off that could be used as meat, carried the rest of them out in duffel bags. Then after they were done with the project, everything came out in bags, and it was all cleared, but when it went in, it was all this. It looked like one thing when it's going in, it was something else when it was coming out, and they misused U-Haul trucks to murder people since the 1980s, and the most God said he saw somebody doing in a U-Haul truck was acting like they were moving into a house, bringing people into the back of the U-Haul truck, murdering them in the back of it, putting up the linings, taking off their skin from their body, dehydrating the skin, cutting the parts of their body off that could be used as meat, taking those out. And there was no DNA evidence left because they bought all that plastic roll sheet lining from the Lowe's and Home Depot. And the angels were so bothered. See, God told me I was a prophet about 7 years ago for His kingdom. And He was giving me revelations about things that go on in the world. And I have like 40 YouTube. I have several YouTube videos on my channel that talk about revelations and philosophies that the angels in God's kingdom gave me. But they don't just give me prophecies or revelations about spiritual things. They tell me about other things too. And they told me that our government men that were doing illegal activity, some of them were police officers, rented a U-Haul truck, cut a person's skin off their body, dehydrated the skin of that person in the back of the U-Haul truck, and whatever they, if they're going to dehydrate the skin, they also cut the body, the meat from the body, and it all looked good going in because they had the duffel bags, they had the people, but everything that came out wasn't the same as what went in, and pretty much the angel told me that's happened before in America. And when it first started, the idea of using a U-Haul truck to commit murder, homicide, and food separations for, it's murder and homicide, but they also did other things in the back of a U-Haul truck. But what they used was that thick plastic rolls of lining that you can buy from Lowe's and Home Depot when you build a home. They bought rolls of that stuff to cover the wood in the back of the bed of the U-Haul so DNA evidence didn't get in the back of the U-Haul. So U-Haul trucks have been misused in America before, and the angel told me about a particular experience where someone was brought into the back of a U-Haul. They never came back out alive, and what they actually did with the person was cut off their skin. They dehydrated the skin in the back of the U-Haul truck, and then they did other things with the body, but it all looked okay going in because all they brought in was bags. All they brought into the U-Haul truck was bags. The giant, like 5 foot long black duffel, but like canvas duffel bags with the handles on it. And, but that's the kind of stuff that's gone on. That was just one story. Alright, thank you.